Greetings. We're Group 2 of English 11 from the class of Mr. Brazalote. We're here to conduct an interview regarding video games and its correlation with aggression. We're here with Mark Gala, our interviewer. I'm Janna D.
I'm Josanne Castro. I'm Janna Liwanag.
And I'm Lopez.
So, Mark Gala, you've been quite a fun or say an enthusiast of gaming. How many years have you been playing?
For 8 years, I guess.
8 years, so you were
In grade school.
Yeah, grade school.
so that was the peak of your childhood. How did you manage playing violence?
Playing video games was my hobby since I was grade school.
Amazing.
Aside from studying.
So you're a regular student and you play video games. So that's great. You got to play your video games and you study well. That's amazing.
What are the games you've been playing?
I've been playing a lot of multiplayer video games like Call of Duty with this guy, Dota with this guy, and League of Legends especially, of course.
That all depicts balance, if I recall.
Yeah, they do depict some violence.
So before we get started with the interview, I want to tell you about the purpose of our study. So this is all about video games correlation with aggression or aggressive behavior. So our stand is about video games having no correlation with aggression or whatever. So we're here to ask you as a fellow gamer yourself, because you have a good conduct in your high school, grade school, and and with Makuha, right?
Sure.
So if we may get in line with anything personal or we may find it criticizing, you may cut the question or say it's too offending.
Sure.
We'll start the questions.
Alright, let's start. So, Mark, do you think that violent video games and violent acts have some kind of connection?
In my opinion, violent video games and violent acts somehow have correlation, but it depends on the player if he's going to apply violence in real life, and depends on his conducts as well.
In your opinion, what do you think is the cause of violent acts?
In my opinion, the cause of violent acts are the person's attitude. It greatly affects violence of a person. Yes,
So this has to do with their mental capabilities, right? If they have mental issues.
So, do you believe that playing violent video games will make you a violent person?
For me, playing violent video games won't necessarily make me a bad person. Because I've been taught good values by my parents since I was a child. And I know the difference between good and bad. So, yeah.
Since we're all Filipinos.
We're all Filipinos.
So regarding that, you've been a good student since grade school, right? Since grade school, you've been an honor student in high school, and now in Makuha, you've been a regular student till the 4th term. And you've been playing video games as you study. So this doesn't hinder you much.
Yeah, it doesn't really affect my studies.
And that's great. Another question is, being exposed to violent video games at an early age, how did you draw clear lines between reality and fantasy?
When I was young, I remember playing this video game called Kingdom Hearts. You know that?
That's a multiplayer game,
an MMO.
MMO.
It features these Disney characters such as Mickey Mouse, and I was really attracted by that game. That's how I was really attracted. And this video game is more on fantasy, and yeah, that's how I was able to draw clear lines between fantasy and reality. I was able to know the difference.
It's not real.
Yeah,
It's
not
issue.
really. Just
You play many violent video games, right? You know GTA.
yeah, of course.
Do you play that?
Yeah, of course.
So, do you think playing violent video games somehow shows you the consequences of committing violence?
Yeah.
So, how does it teach you that? Does it serve somewhat like a warning that you should not do whatever you do in that game anymore?
Yeah, for me, these violent video games show somehow that you should not do these violent acts in real life, because as in the video game you can see that you can kill people, you can steal cars, you can shoot everyone.
It's just for entertainment.
Yeah, for entertainment. Yeah, and you should not apply these into your actual life.
Just to make it in trouble, seriously.
Yeah, you really get in trouble.
But with a good mindset, you can really depict this right and this wrong.
Very good mindset.
There's a difference between online games and offline games, right? Like playing offline games, you just play by yourself. But when it comes to playing with other people, like online games, like Dota and League of Legends, do you think it can cause you aggression?
In my own experience, yeah, it caused me somehow an aggression. I remember when I do something that is not expected by my teammates, such as in Dota, they trash talk me. Like they say a lot of bad stuff to me,
And also
and I tend to reply to those bad stuff.
also the instances where your team loses or the opposing team, there's this kind of situations where you throw insults at one another, right?
Yeah,
But that's against the player, not the game itself.
not the game itself.
So there's a there's the other factor, the social factor with other teams. So it's not the game itself.
Do you agree that playing violent video games will rather pour down your emotions in the game itself rather than in real life?
For me, playing violent video games won't really affect my emotions at all. In real life, yeah, violence will affect my emotions, because it's real. And fantasy is not something that is actual.
It's a virtual
It's
reality.
just a virtual reality.
So experts say that video games, or violent video games to be particular, they desensitize gamers like us. So what's your stand about this? Does it desensitize you? Does it hinders you emotionally? Does it?
These statements by these experts, they do not then desensitize me at all, because I know that I'm a good person myself, and these video games are just for entertainment purposes. Yeah, and yeah, that's.
Do you think that violent video games can somehow be the cause of reduction in aggression in youth?
Violent video games, I personally think it has caused some aggression in the youth, but mostly those youth in these poor areas, like these.
So it's not really the game that affects them.
Yeah, it's not really the game that affects the person. It's the person's attitude.
Saying is it's on the environmental side.
Yeah, it's also some of the environmental factors.
As you said earlier, that games are part of entertainment.
Yeah.
Do you consider or accept video games as a part of our culture?
I consider video games as a part of our culture now. For art, yeah. Because, like I said, when I was a child, like when we were children, we were playing video games.
So will you confirm that since you're playing video games inside your home, it will not get you into trouble since you're there inside playing and enjoying your game?
Playing video games won't get me in trouble at all, unless I bring the violence in real life.
So do you have any chance of emulating any video games? Violence? Like you may
Of course not.
punch somebody randomly?
Of course not.
No, I didn't know that. So, what's your stand about this? Does it make you uncomfortable whenever you hear that, hey, this violent video games make people violent?
No, I don't feel uncomfortable about it. Because, yeah, it's just a virtual reality and it has nothing to do with actual stuff happening.
Imaginary guns
Yeah.
don't kill people, right?
Imaginary, yeah, don't kill people.
Do you think that, no, as a gamer yourself, would you rather act the way you do, like the heroes you play in the games in the real world?
Yeah, somehow I can apply these good morals in the things that I do in real life and choose how to, yeah,
Choose to be good.
I choose to be good and be bad.
So that wrap things up. Thank you for being part of your Magkala. So you may have any clarifications or questions regarding the interview.
No, that's
Thank you for being here and being part of